Hey everybody, Dennis Wood here. Today we're going to be taking a look at extreme cold weather operation for the DJI Mini 4 Pro, which is this. And if you try and fly this in very cold weather, you're going to probably run into some issues with the battery getting too cold and some other issues. DJI specifically says minus 10 C is the limit. Today it is minus 20 C out there. And with wind chill, it's about minus 30. So it's a cold, windy day. It's actually above the wind threshold for this at about 38 kilometers an hour. I think it's gusting to around 40. But we're going to go outside and take a quick shot. But I had a quick look at the drone body and chassis. And obviously the battery's back here. And if you have a close look, you can see some fins here, these black things. And they actually, if you look at the way this prop sits, when this prop is spinning, this is directing airflow into this vent on both sides, and it's running through the chassis and cooling, and it's probably coming out the front. In fact, it is coming out the front here behind the gimbal in the open area. So my hot tip here, and I wouldn't do this unless it's very cold, is to just get a small piece of tape, Scotch tape, like so. You need one, it's gonna be about, I don't know, a couple centimeters long, and you're just gonna place it over to block the vent. And I've done that here. And I've done it while it's warm because this will not work, obviously, if it's cold. But I just basically covered these vents. And you'll see when we get outside, the battery actually keeps its temperature quite nicely. So if it's minus 10 or above, I wouldn't do this, but it's minus 20, closer to, again, wind chill doesn't really matter for a drone. It's minus 20, it's minus 20. But we'll look at the battery temps, and you can see it's possible. Currently, really nice shooting out at the harbor because it's Lake Superior. The water is not frozen. The air is very cold, so we're getting some really neat effects over the lake. So hopefully we'll bounce this up in the air and get a few shots of that today. All right, so it's pretty chilly out here. Again, quite a windy, gusty day. The wind's kind of coming behind me. So I'm going to do a hand launch here, but I'm going to hand launch this with the wind behind me. Why? Because it's going to the wind's going to shove this forward. Doing a hand launch with the wind blowing towards you is a great way to get on the drone fails reel. So I'm just going to put it in cine mode here. We'll put up our little antennas. And I'm recording on the screen here, so we'll be able to look at battery temps as we go. Let's just, a little hard to do with gloves on. All right, let's put her up. All right, hum points updated. So we're going to go ahead and put her up in the air a bit. Let's go take a look at the lake. Probably going to get a warning here about, oh, and the wind is, it's pretty cool out there. Let's press record. Screen's not too bad actually with gloves on, which is kind of cool. I'm going to put her in video mode here. Again, there we go. We'll record a bit of video. Again, I'm just in auto mode here for settings. Oh, big truck. It's all fun and games to get run over in your backyard. So we're going to go up a bit. You can see just how pretty. I can hear the drone struggling with the wind out there. And we're probably going to get a strong wind warning. It's right above me. But let's go have a look at battery temps. And this is, we're going to go to safety. Again, it's kind of cool that my gloves even work on this thing. And we're going to go to battery info here. And you see the battery's at 26.1 degrees. And having tested it for a while, it's going to pretty much stay around 26. Now, if you take the tape off, you're going to see the temperature drop. The last time I tried this, the temperature dropped to, I don't know, about minus 15, and it will keep dropping. So if you're going to even colder temps, you're going to see that you're going to start getting low battery warnings. The drone seems to be fine. The big trick is keeping the battery warm enough to provide power. And obviously you don't have to worry about cooling the drone when it's minus 20 like it is right now. You can see we're still maintaining 26.7. And I didn't, had I just charged this battery, it would have a bit more heat in it too. So there you go. There's a a hot tip, literally, for running a Mini 4 Pro in very, very cold weather. So let's bring her down and see if I can hand. And I got one more hot tip for you. There she comes. We're in cinema mode here, so we're not doing anything crazy. Still recording. Might as well stop that. Bring her down. See the pigeons over there? They're not too thrilled with this drone. I don't know if you can see them. They're flying over me now. It's kind of cool. So for hand landing, if you're using this RC2 controller, it's kind of really nice to just flip it over into S mode, which is sport mode. And then it turns off obstacle avoidance and basically makes it a lot easier to land this thing. So we'll just bring her over here, about so, and we'll just bring her down. Come on down. Okay, so we've gone ahead and landed the drone. The drone itself, the chassis is probably around -20. And one of the things you want to avoid is bringing this inside when it's that cold. Why? Because I did a few calculations. If this chassis is around -20 and I bring it inside the warm house, and this happened the last time I did this, the drone will immediately get covered in a layer of moisture. It'll literally, why? Because you're taking a really cold drone into a warm house with 50% relative humidity. Everything, including the gimbal, the electronics, is going to get coated literally with a fine layer of water, which is probably not a cool idea. So one of the things that I've come up with that seems to work really nicely, I'm just going to power all these bits down now. Let's hope our recording stopped gracefully there. And I'm going to power the drone off. And if you have, I'm just going to close up the props here. Here's the trick though. The air that we're currently sitting in right now, is a bit of physics for you, is around, it's -20 degrees, give or take. Wind chill doesn't really matter. Relative humidity is 57%. If I take this air around me and bring it inside the house at those current conditions, as a plane flies overhead, the air around, or the air around me right now, if I could package it up and take it inside, is at 3% relative humidity. So if I take this cold air and warm it up, it's very cold and dry, basically. Even though the relative humidity at -20, we won't get into that. It's a bit of physics. But what I'm going to do here, let's see if I can just tuck this into my pocket, which I can. Taking care of the joysticks. My secret tip here is this plastic Ziploc bag. So if I'm going to bring this inside, you know, if you're going to keep the drone cold, it's no big deal. You don't bother with this. But if you're going to take it inside to warm it up, which is not a bad idea, just basically put it into the bag. Okay. The bag is basically full of very cold and very dry air. So what I've done here, I'll just be careful not to be gentle with the gimbal. I'll probably take these gloves off so I can close this bag back up. Like so. There we go. It might be a bit of a bear at these temps. But if I seal up this bag, I now have a drone, which is very cold, but it's also in very dry air. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this inside, and you'll see there will be 0 condensation on it. So let's do that. Okay, so we're back inside, and I had a little recording mishap, so my glasses have actually defogged a bit. But as you can see, the air in here is kind of puffed up a bit. And that's because, again, it was very cold and very dry air. As it warms up, it'll puff up. The good news is that there's no moisture anywhere on the drone. So that's our hot tip to keep the drone nice and dry when you bring a very cold object into a warm space. This would work with anything. As an example, this tripod was outside, and you can see just how literally covered in moisture it is. So that's what the drone would be like if you just brought it in. So there's a good example of why you want to put your drone in a little baggie. In any case, I hope you found that helpful. A couple tips there for really cold weather operation. Again, don't forget to take the tape off. If you're going to be running again in very cold temps, I would say below -10, then throw the tape on. Otherwise, take it off. Otherwise, you're going to overheat. Definitely keep an eye on the battery temps. So hope you found that helpful, and enjoy flying in those cold temps.